Hi, Janette. This is Lindsay, and I'm going to be taking you on an audio-visual tour of how to find your assignments within our course. What I've done here is I've done a screen capture, and I'm going to start us right at our home page for the class. Um, I really apologize. My understanding was that you were confused by the two different options of how to find the files that you needed. I did not understand that you didn't understand how to apply those instructions and that you were still looking for where those files existed for you to download. So anyway, let's go ahead and take another look at this. So here we are at our home page, and you can see this is the landing page. This is the page that opens up every time you come into our course. And I supplied a number of links, and each of these links have explanations about where to go and suggestions on how to find stuff that you need. And what we're going to do is we're going to go directly to the syllabus. Now, you might remember that the syllabus has a listing of every single assignment that's due in the class. It's organized in order of the due date. So I'm going to left click on syllabus. And so here's the syllabus page. It's loading. By the way, this pink down at the bottom, in order for me to be sure that you're seeing the screen the way that I do, there's a function that's called student view. So I have that turned on. So you're not going to see this pink thing down at the bottom for you. So here we are at the course summary. This is your list of assignments, and I know that you're finding these assignments because you did a great job on your first two discussions. Your email assignment was right on point. Your syllabus and assignment calendar quiz, you had 100% on that. Your multiple choice quiz, you did a great job, but you started falling apart at file management. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at your Word Chapter 1 assignment because you actually did successfully upload a document to this assignment. So here I am. You can see that as soon as I hover over the link, my selection tool from my mouse turns into a pointy finger. That tells me I know I know that I'm going to get jumped to a new location. So I'm going to left click on that link. And I also know that you have been at this page before because you have submitted something to this assignment. So we're just going to start at the top here and then work our way down just to kind of give you a review. So at the very top is the name of the assignment, Word Chapter 1, Skills 1 through 10. The due date, which you and I are going to have to talk about because if your confusion was so fundamental that you weren't able to download the files, we really need to do some adjustments on this. So you and I can talk about that offline to help you set some new due dates so that you can complete the class, which you obviously want to do. So then I start giving explanations here. So I tell you that the two links below are for your reference. I'm referring to these two links specifically, the ones that I just highlighted. The first is a narrated tutorial video that covers all the steps in the chapter assignment, that's skills 1 through 10. All you need to do in order to look at that is to click on the word here. I'm going to left click. And a new window is going to open, and that new one, whoops, sorry, let me turn off that woman talking there. It's going to take you through each of the skills. It's kind of a way for you to check your understanding of a specific instruction, to see a demonstration of that, and to see what it should look like once you're done. And so as you look at this, over on the left-hand side is kind of like a table of contents, your navigation pane that scrolls up and down. And this is done so that, say, for example, if you're having an issue with skill 5, for example, you don't have to listen to every single skill leading up to that. You can just jump right to skill 5 if you choose. So here's the tutorial. I'm going to close this tutorial window so I can come back to the assignment page. So I'm going to click on my tab to close it. By the way, I use Chrome as my browser, so I'm not sure which one that you use, so this may look a little bit different to you. The next link down is actually the link to your rubric. This is done in an Excel spreadsheet, so I understand that you're familiar with Office, so you'll be able to read this really easily. In order to open this, all you need to do is left click, to download the file. You can see that the file is downloaded at the bottom of my browser. That's the way it works. Perhaps if you use Firefox, there might be a downloads window that opens. I'm just going to click on that particular link and show you what the rubric looks like. And now this is what I use to grade each and every person's paper. Right? So everybody gets graded exactly the same. There is no question of consistency between the way that I grade different students' assignments. And you can also see, as you look at this, which are the skills that I'm going to be focusing on. So I'm going to go ahead and close this rubric here to get it out of our way. That's a left click in the upper. No, I don't want to save this. Underneath this horizontal rule, now I start talking about the logistics for the assignment itself. So what we have here is we've got two different sides. We've got how to complete your assignment, how to download a file, how to submit your assignment, all the rest of that kind of stuff inside Canvas itself. The instructions to do the assignments are actually inside your textbook. So in the introduction, I give you an idea of what you're going to be doing and the reason why. The next line tells you you're going to be creating a new Word document following the instructions that begin on page 146 of your textbook. So in order to successfully complete this assignment, you need to have your textbook open, and you start at page 146. Now, as a heads up, at the very beginning of the chapter, it will tell you to download the student data files or access the student data files that you were instructed to download way in the beginning of this textbook. However, I find that most students miss that information, and in my effort to try to make things easier, what I did is I went through those student data files for everybody, and I attached to everybody's assignments the actual file that you're going to need. And that's this link that you're seeing here, this Word 01 internpositions.docx. This is the file you need. Right below that file, I'm giving you instructions on what to do with the file. And so I'm asking you to please right-click on the file link, save the file to a place you can remember where you put it. You're going to need it later, because the instructions later in your assignment is going to say, please navigate to the file Word 01 intern positions, open it, and copy and paste the contents into the letter you've created. The stuff that you need in order to copy and paste into the letter you created is inside this file that's here for your use. So I give instructions, right-click on the file name link and save the file to a place where you can remember it later. You're going to need it. And then I also give some additional instructions here. Please don't left-click on the file. You need to open up the Save As window to save the file. And a little bit of a warning. If you left-click, and this is depending on the computer that you're on, whether or not it's a school computer, whether you're in a cloud environment, whether you're on your own. If you left-click, there's a very real possibility that your file will be stored in the computer's temporary folder, unless you tell it differently. And if you put something in the temporary folder, it's going to get wiped out the next time that you close your computer. We surely don't want that to happen. So then I go on in the instructions and I say by the end of the chapter, you will have created 2 files to be submitted for this assignment. There's going to be a Word file that you're going to be submitting, and that's going to contain your complete letter as well as the information that you copied and pasted and then later formatted. And then it's also going to ask you to create a PDF document based on that Word file that you created. Now again, all of these instructions on how to do every single step begin on page 146 of your textbook. And then because of the fact that a lot of students are not clear on what last_first is in the file name, I have placed a reminder here that last_first really means your last name and your first name, Janette. So you want to make sure you have that in there. And the reason why I ask for that is it's all part of file management, naming a file so that when somebody looks at it later, they can quickly and easily understand who it belongs to or what the contents is. And then I continue on talking about that you're not going to be printing out your assignment, which you've already figured out because you successfully uploaded a Word assignment, a Word project. Um, but making sure to remind you to save your work to your own computer or your Z drive or USB drive or whatever you're using in order to save your stuff. I mean, it all comes down to you when we look at this kind of, when we look at where you're saving things. The important thing is that you're going to remember where you put it so then you can find it later. And I know these last instructions you've already successfully completed. You knew that you needed to click the blue Submit Assignment button in the upper right-hand corner. You knew how to navigate to find the file to reattach. Anyway, so here we are back at the assignment again. I'm going to come back to the home page. And we're just going to take you through this really quickly again. So this is what you're going to see when you open up your assignments, or when you open up your class, my apologies. You'll see these hints, and there's really a lot of good information in here that answers a lot of questions that I found that students have. I took you to the syllabus, and I just did a left click on that, and that syllabus gives you an overview of and lists every single assignment that you have due in the class. We then went to Word Chapter 1, Skills 1 through 10, which is your first Word assignment. I left click on that to look at the actual assignment page. Starting at the very top, review of the name of the actual item, the due date, which you and I are going to talk about later. We're going to go ahead and adjust that. There's the link to the video tutorial that helps demonstrate each and every step that you need to make. The next link is for the rubric, which we looked at, so you can see exactly how I grade everybody's work. A little bit of an introduction to the actual project you're going to be completing. A reminder that you're going to be creating a new Word document following the instructions that begin on 146 of our text, and going on to say you're going to need one file to complete this project. And again, the colon at the end here means, hey, there's something coming up after that. You're going to want to know this. Here is the link to your actual file that you need. All you need to do is right-click on the link, save your link as. Now again, I use Chrome, so perhaps you might see in that window Save Target As, something similar to that. I created a folder on my desktop titled CSA 126. That's what we practiced in file management. I opened my folder, and inside there I had stored that Word 01 intern positions file that I'm going to need later. It's okay, so I know that that's okay. Again, following that is the instructions on how to download and save files once again. A reminder of what you're going to want to turn in order to receive complete credit for your assignment. A reminder here that last underscore first really means your last name and your first name. Another reminder that you're not printing out your assignment, but you've already figured that out because you uploaded a Word document, and you did that great. You just need to do a little bit more work on the assignment. And then a reminder on how to actually submit an assignment. Anyway, Janette, I really apologize for the confusion that's been reigning here. I promise you that I did not understand that the issue that you had was not understanding where your file was that you needed for the assignments. And no excuse, but the reason that I didn't understand that is because I knew you had already been on this page and the file that you needed was already here. So apparently there was a disconnect that I was not hearing from you, and so I do apologize for that. One of the things that I'm going to ask you, because of the fact that I know that your Word Chapter 1 assignment was not completed, you had not submitted Chapter 2, and 3 and 4 are due on Friday. That's an awful lot for anyone to get done in that period of time. So what I would like is for us to talk about setting new due dates for this project. My goal really is your success. My goal is really to help you complete this class, and I'm just looking for ways to help you do that. Please let me know after you see this video if you have any more questions. We do need to talk about setting new due dates for all these assignments. And in the meantime, I really hope this helps. Looking forward to hearing from you.